The church has been in existence close to 20 years. One of our elders found the building. We knew that something that was this close to turnkey was not going to come around very often. You know, we need to jump on this. Banks were pretty skittish about us. CIF and everybody involved there is under the assumption that we want to make this work. They know who we are. They've worked with other PCA churches. This is about promoting the interests of the kingdom and the health of the church. Part of our story in terms of finding and purchasing a building was that basically once a year at the annual meeting, we would report to the congregation on the finances and how we're doing. And somebody would raise the question, what are we doing with that money? Are we looking for a building? Are we talking about building a building? And that would kind of prompt leadership to do some looking for a while. And what we would typically find was, while that sounded like a lot of money to have in the bank account, it was not very much money when you talked about buying a building, or especially building a building where we were in Pueblo West. Pueblo West is unincorporated, and they seem to have a policy of letting people who are building buildings develop the infrastructure. So they make them improve roads and things like that. It adds a lot if you're going to build out there. So we would look around. We would typically find industrial properties that were maybe not insulated, didn't have interior, did not have parking lots because they weren't built for large groups of people. And it would be a lot of money by itself. And then we would think, what's it going to cost us to improve it? And so, you know, the idea would just go away for a while until, again, we'd be asked, what are we doing with all that money? So we would just look periodically. About a year and a half ago, a little bit less probably still, one of our elders found the building we're in now. It was built as a VFW building, so it was built with a large hall, a large kitchen, bathrooms sufficient for a fair number of people. Parking lot is all developed according to the way the city would want it, with enough parking spaces and all that. And we just, because we had done looking in the past, we knew that something that was this close to turnkey was not going to come around very often. I talked with 4 or 5 probably different financial institutions, banks locally, talked with CIF, talked with another organization fairly similar. Banks didn't like that, you know, this was so slapdash happening fast and all of a sudden. So, you know, as much as we can have in terms of commitments from the members and so forth, which was, yeah, I mean, those were hurdles we were willing to do if that's what we had to do. But it was going to add time, and it would have been a difficult sort of thing to pull off. And then in the end, they really wanted more than that. The banks wanted guarantors. They wanted people. They didn't care whether they were members of the congregation or officers or what, but just they wanted people who were going to allow the bank to look into their personal finances and all of their assets. And they were going to sign off and say, if the church cannot meet its obligations, I will be responsible for that. Working with CIF was just different. It was nice to look through things with CIF and see, so here's a list of denominations that are kind of known quantities. I think there was some sort of phrase there of preferred denominations or something like that. And to find the PCA on there to say, okay, they know who we are. They've worked with other PCA churches. They're not going to get all upset about something they think is weird about us down the line or something. I don't know what, you know, but that was just nicely reassuring. Everybody involved on all sides of everything understands this is about promoting the interests of the kingdom and the health of the church. It was nice to look through things with CIF and to feel like here are people who don't just have an interest, they have some know-how, and they have some experience. That was helpful too, to just have some level of comfort, and we're happy to be where we are.